Hey, howdy, and a big welcome back to Clem Hawks, everybody. I'm Yak, ready to take you through another Minnesota Twins discussion video today. And simply put, you see here the score after last night's game, 11-1 for the Minnesota Twins in a game which was dominated by the offense quite heavily because it was just a gorgeous third and fourth inning that got the job done from the Twins. And yes, sir, that was what we enjoyed about that game immensely. However, if you go into that game, right, you're expecting with the starting pitchers on the mound a lot of runs for both sides. And Dylan Bundy instead exits the game after the eighth inning with how many less earned run average points against? 0.70. Like, he lowered his ERA from 5.87 entering the game to 5.17 by the time he exited. That is phenomenal, right? That's the kind of stuff that is going to start transforming this Twins team back from this one win, one loss team that it's been in June to the team that it was prior to June, the team that was solidly in first place in the AL Central. Obviously, it's never too late to start building that lead again. That's hopefully what the Twins did last night with the victory. However, for the Twins to continue to have success and continue to win ball games, you can't have boom bust starting pitching from your starters. You have to start seeing them come back down and get going with the runs against, right? And that's obviously where you kind of take away what happened here to last night with Dylan Bundy. Is the fact of the matter is he got the job done pitching, and it's not necessarily he got the job done, it's how he got the job done. And this is what excites me about Bundy in this game, is simply he was lights out early, right? 9 up, 9 down to begin the game. I think actually 10 up, 10 down to begin the game, if I'm not mistaken, against the Arizona Diamondbacks last night, right? That was the key. That's what allowed the Diamondbacks to kind of have to be back on their heels and have to rely on Luke Weaver to pitch them through what was not a good start offensively. And for the Twins, finally, yes, with Luke Weaver not much better overall than Dylan Bundy in the pitching department this season, all of a sudden the Twins break through and they just go one man, one man, one man at a time and line them up, knock them down, and get the job done. And that propels you to an 11-1 win. But Bundy there, you know what? Yeah, even after he surrenders a couple of hits, he still sticks in there, pitches phenomenally, and gets all the way through the eighth inning. However, how he did it, right? That's where I was going with this. How he did it is the big thing. And yes, the 10 up, 10 down to start, very important. But the biggest thing for Bundy was, and simply put, will be, continually working quickly and throwing strikes, keeping the other team off balance. It's old adages for sure, but when you've got an inflated ERA, when you've got a season that's not quite gone your way in the pitching department, you've got to try and go out there and just start changing the tide in your favor. And that was what was beautiful to watch for last night's game for Dylan Bundy. Is yes, he took a team that's below 500 and just attacked them all night long. 104 pitches, but you know what? 104 pitches through 8 innings. You're not talking about anything too crazy, right? It's not like he threw 120 or anything through 8. He could have potentially at 104 gotten through a total of 9 innings had they allowed him, but right, he pitches 13 pitches an inning. That's working efficiently. Most pitchers right now sitting at that 14 and a half to 15 and a half mark, and when you can talk about playing 1.5 pitches less an inning, you're going to be a bit more effective than the other guys, right? That's one less opportunity to walk someone. That's one less, right? You get where I'm going? Is there's just less room for error when you throw less pitches in an inning and you work a little quicker and attack the hitters a little bit better by throwing strikes. And that's, I guess, not saying that's a key to success, because quite honestly, you can throw strikes and get absolutely beat up. For Bundy, though, he had the curveball working last night, and secondary to that, when you're attacking the hitters and keeping them off balance, right, you got the curveball going, but you're also throwing strikes, is you're going to be effective. But big thing is, when you've got the inflated ERA, you have to do that. You have to go out there and attack the hitters and make them come to you, because end of the day, if you're going to nibble, you're just going to keep inflating that ERA, right? If you're going to walk guys, and then when you do give up hits, it's going to cost you. And that's the big part for Dylan Bundy last night. He didn't walk anybody. He had 4 hits against and just went out there and struck 7 guys out and pitched 8 innings clean. Nice. 1 run against, decent, right? Perfect outing. You can't ask much more from a guy that went out there with a 5.87 ERA to start the game, and now all of a sudden he's down below 5.2. That's pretty stellar. And for the Twins now, you kind of look at what that does in the ERA department, is it gets him back into relativity, right? We're talking about the guys that have really struggled this season, that being Duffy, that being Cano, that being Sands, that being, right, Aaron Sanchez. Those are the guys that have really struggled. And now Dylan Bundy's kind of created a separation from the guys that more or less borderline really shouldn't be pitching for the Twins anymore, and the guys that should actively still be pitching for the Twins. Obviously, yeah, you know what? For Dylan Bundy, if he comes out and can start mowing through and only giving up 2 or 3 runs a game the rest of the way home, that ERA is going to go down probably closer to 3.6, and that'll be manageable because that'll be one of the better ERAs on the Twins at that point. However, right, is 5.17. Well, you do it again and you knock off 40 points next outing, it's down to 4.77, and again it just starts knocking down. But there is a gap. So right now Caleb Thielbar and Dylan Bundy are kind of in that middle gap where they've made some improvements to their games since things got out of control in terms of their ERA, but they're in that middle. They're the only 2 guys with a 5.0 ERA, and the next highest is Chris Paddock with a 4.03. So that's where, for obviously Dylan Bundy, if you're going to be starting games for the Twins, you'd like to see that start coming down quite heavily if you could. And then, of course, there's everybody else in the 3s, and that's where you want to try and start being. Today's starter, Chris Archer, 12 games, started 3.35 ERA, 480 or 48.1 innings pitched, and 22 earned runs. 22. What is that? 18 earned runs against. So you'd like to see him come out and not necessarily duplicate what Bundy did, but come out and try and replicate it to the point. Is just go out there, pitch well, pitch effective, throw strikes, make the hitters come to you, take advantage of a weaker team, and just physically get the job done against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then all of a sudden, if you can do that, you're going to be a team that's all of a sudden won a couple of games in a row here, and that would be a big get, because I think the Twins have only won 2 games in a row all month here in June. So we won against the Diamondbacks, and yeah, you know what? We've won 2 games in a row once, and that was against the Rays in offensive explosions. So maybe that tracking to be a good get here, and then you have an off day, and you face the Cleveland Guardians on Tuesday at 5:40 or 6:40 Central Time. So you get where I'm going. Is simply put, pitching, it's going to be like last night. It's going to be just fine for the Twins. But for Dylan Bundy, that was a big get. Folks, I'm Yak. This is Clem Hawks. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you could. I'm going to catch you in the next one.